This channel supports the use of ADBLOCK. Hello everyone to a second episode of Fallout 4 Mega Builds. Most of you seem to enjoy the previous video, so I thought I'd make another one showcasing what I think will be my magnum opus of building in Fallout 4. Now the reason why I call it my magnum opus is not only is it huge and ridiculous, but it basically uses every single like weird building technique that I know how to do, and it uses as many different materials from the Fallout 4 building set that I know how to do. So yeah, you saw in the flybys at the intro of this video, the structure looks immense. It looks really complicated. I'm very proud of it. So I'm just gonna run through a couple of the building techniques that I've used in this particular build. I'll also be releasing one more Fallout 4 video in the future before I release my big video essay about Fallout 4. And that video is going to be kind of a tutorial of how to figure out which pieces snap and some of the more advanced building techniques that I use in this kind of building structure. Yeah, so just again a very quick reminder that there are no mods in this for the pieces. These are all the pieces available in vanilla plus DLC Fallout 4. Nothing's modded, and there are no cheats. So there are no no collide cheat snaps that I do. All of this is all legitimate snapping in the game. Alright, the only thing that I do is I change the settlement limit and the settlement height. Those are the only things that I mess around with. Alright, so we've built in Longfellow's cabin. As you can see, the path to walk Longfellow's cabin is over there. There's Far Harbor. And yeah, that's why I put the gateway over here. So let's just take a quick little look at what this place is all about. Now, the front gate itself has my half wall building technique. So I use concrete in the front and I actually snap it into the floor so that it doesn't stick outside. So you can push concrete floors in so that they line up exactly with the floor. Otherwise, they normally stick out. And then you just use a warehouse or a barn half wall to raise the height of the next level. And it kind of works out to where you have this wonderful little wall that you can, it's still a wall, but it's just the right height for you to look over, right? And then I did the same thing over here as well with this rounded corner. So it's a great way to create a castle or a wall, you know, for your base that you can actually peek over and still have a very solid wall behind. So it's really, it's a fun little building technique, mixing half wall heights with concrete wall heights. All right, now the next building technique that I want to showcase is something that I had to do over here. So my entrance to this entire structure is over here. And this is building using my octagonal structure that you can do in concrete buildings. So just look at my previous video to figure out how you can create buildings that stick out in 8 directions rather than just the normal 4 directions. Now, however, if you just build a square base at the bottom, you're bound to run into the entrance facing one of these pillars, right? As you can see over here. So if my base at the bottom of the octagon is just a square, if I extend it out, it will be facing a pillar. So in order for it to turn and have the entrance be in the gap between these 2 support pillars, I had to use a 45-degree turn, a little pivot here. And so I did that using the warehouse pieces and using the corner concrete floor. So it snaps into this corner over here. As you can see, the floor is snapped to that. And the gap at the end there is just really still relatively small. So I kind of get away with it. And I tried to close up as much of the roof as I could. There's still some gaps, as you can see, but they mostly kind of cover. This part especially, this part's pretty well covered thanks to this little side piece like that. But this one over here, I guess I could put, I tried a couple of combinations, but it just wouldn't snap and wouldn't close that up. But it's still pretty good. And it creates this 45-degree bend into the buildings. So again, it's legit. There's no cheats here. I didn't randomly put a block down and then join it. It's actually a snap. It snaps at this little corner piece here. All right, so the next building technique I want to show you is this tunnel system that I created for my walkways. So rather than just have very exposed ordinary walkways, I figured out how to snap these scaffolding stairs together to form this kind of like diamond shape, and then you just make the walkways in there. So it has a nice effect when you're walking through it. It looks really cool when you're going front and back, right? And also from the outside, it looks very sturdy. It's more solid than just a flimsy walkway. So the external walkways, as you can see, they look really big and chunky and substantial as they connect to all of my external buildings. So as you guys know from my previous video, I like to build tree type structures. So this is the latest extension of that. And as you can see, it clips a little bit, but these are, again, they're all legitimate snaps. There are no cheats here. So the door for the vault structures will actually clip through these scaffolding stairs. So I just added, a double path to make it look thicker at the joining. But yeah, that's just another cool little technique that you can do. And I figured I'd use the warehouse pillars. They kind of look like they weld into the scaffolding stairs like that. I'm all about, things looking like they genuinely attach to each other and they all fit. Right, the next technique that I want to show you is something that I actually figured out on stream. So if you want to follow me on my Twitch channel, look for the Twitch channel in the description. I stream once in a while. And we actually discovered this technique on stream. So it's a way to use the scaffolding stairs to stick into the supports. As you can see, they actually stick inside. They're not floating or anything. Like I said, I'm all about things looking like they actually join. And it fits almost perfectly on the floor here. So it's the first way to create like a diagonal support structure in Fallout 4. Now I've seen people do like faux diagonal supports using the ball track pieces, but I was never really satisfied with those because they're not legitimate snaps. These, however, are legitimate snaps. Like they snap in a legitimate way to create this effect. And as you can see, all of my structures that are floating now have this little diagonal support. So they look a little bit more stable and they look a little bit more substantial rather than just, you know, hanging on the support in the middle. So they look a little bit cooler, I think. Yeah. All right, so the next building technique that I want to show you is the combination of vault structures and wooden shack structures over here. So as you can see, wooden shack pieces snap to vault atrium pieces, so you can actually have wooden shack pieces snap to these vault structures. They work well. However, wooden shack pieces have a actually shorter wall height than vault, barn, and warehouse pieces. So if I create an external structure like these that is based upon the height of the wooden walls, you will find that the floors are actually higher than where they would be normally on the vault, the atrium floors, right? So then this diagonal technique actually no longer works on a wooden shack. If I attach, for instance, the scaffolding stairs to this bit, it will not join to the floor of this wooden shack. However, I did find out that wooden stairs snap to the top of these support structures. Like this right here is how wooden stairs snap. And based upon the way in which I clipped these two supports together, they are actually the correct height for these stairs to attach to the foundation floors that are the double pieces. Right, like these, I'll show you which piece they are. When you go to the wooden floors, you have the single floors, and then you have these shack upper floors, which are double height, right? And they just happen to touch just perfectly right down there, so they look like they attach. All right, so that's another building technique that I use to attach wooden shack pieces to the outside of vault structures. So it has this kind of, you know, wasteland yet vault kind of a look, which I like. I like marrying the two structures together. Now, the next thing that I did was to put a wooden shack structure on top of a vault structure, which is like this. Now, the thing about this is that if I use these double floors, they just touch the top of the vault structures. But if I use the ordinary floors, as I did over here, as you can see, there's a gap. They look like they're hovering on top. So the only way in which I could make it look as if they attach was to use my concrete building technique that allows me to lower the floor pieces one step at a time and stick them underneath there so that they look like they're legitimately attached to the vault structures. There's a tiny little base of concrete. Now you can see the hovering in effect at the stairs here, as you can see. Look, those wooden floor pieces are hovering so high above the vault pieces. So I added the concrete underneath that because some of these are half floor pieces that don't have that shack upper floor double height. So I had to stick the concrete underneath them. Again, this is a legitimate snap. There is no cheating involved here. Right, now the next little technique I want to show you is the little technique I developed to make a ceiling on top of the elevators. So as I attached elevators to these vault structures, you will find that the top of the elevator, the snapping is to the side of this elevator piece, which is this vault atrium floor height. It doesn't actually snap onto the top of the elevator. So I did figure out a way to get this vault atrium floor, move it up by using these supports. So I got it on top, but there was still a gap between the vault walls and the floor where I stacked on top there. So to fill the gap, I used this concrete building technique where I lowered the floor by one step for concrete, and then these stairs would snap to that concrete floor, and they would clip into the walls of this vault structure so that they, again, look like they're attached. And it creates this kind of little cap over here so that the elevator, when you look inside, has a closed ceiling. And I think it kind of looks like it genuinely fits. And the color scheme as well, because it's blue, it kind of, blends in a little bit with default structures. All right, and then the last kind of building technique that I wanted to show you in the structure is the marrying of vault structures and warehouse structures. So again, for this warehouse structure, I had to use the wooden shack upper floor foundation pieces so that they look like they're attached to the vault structure on the bottom. But, you know, as luck would have it, warehouse pieces snap perfectly fine to wooden shack pieces, and the heights all work out very nicely. So these warehouse beams are just the same heights as these vault structures, and they end up, you know, fitting pretty much very nicely. Now, as you can see, if I do not use the double wooden shack floors, there is a gap between my diagonal building and a normal warehouse floor. So all I need to do is basically replace this floor over here with a shack upper floor, which I think I can do like right now, can't I? Yeah, there you go. See, it snaps perfectly well. And then, as you can look here, yep, it looks like it joins. Just really nice. So yeah, so these are all the slightly more advanced building techniques that I use to marry all of these different structures together. And as you can see, everything is all wired up, and it's all powered by this one fusion reactor at the top in this kind of open glass box. I kind of like the shape of this. It looks really nice. Yeah, so there you go. And so we've got all manner of different vault type structures on the outside. And if we look at it from the top, it again uses my octagonal building technique. Now I refined the technique a little bit so that these floor pieces here, as you can see, this is a legit snap again to this. There's a little bit of finagling that you need to do to get this particular size of floor to snap directly in the middle of this triangular piece. But it is possible, and I will demonstrate how to do this in my next video. All right, so yeah, so this is the outside vault, as I call it, and it really uses every single technique that I know how to use in Fallout 4 to create a structure that looks kind of like this. So I can build this higher, but I figured, you know, building it too high would also make it too repetitive. So I didn't want to do that, so I just built it like too high. So as you can see, it's a spiral that goes up. Every time it turns 45 degrees, it goes up by one stair height. But to kind of make it a little bit more dense, I created like a double helix kind of a thing. So you can have the one arm extending this way and then another arm extending on the other side and then swirling as a double helix going up to the top. So yeah, so that's my Fallout 4 building video. I'm probably not going to build any more in Fallout 4 because I really expended as many of the techniques as I can in this video. Yeah, and next video I'll demonstrate how to do some of these building tricks, and hopefully you use them in your Fallout 4 structures. And if you like, follow me on Twitch, and when I stream, I'll build some of these crazy stuff. Who knows, I might discover more building techniques that I haven't yet discovered in Fallout 4 and make something even more ridiculous. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, bye-bye.